Hey you! Good to see you! Thanks for coming and hanging out with me on my channel today. Okay, so all the plans I had for today totally got thrown out the window because I saw this video of a girl doing a painting with crayons, or recreating a painting with crayons, and I'm like, I'm in, I'm doing that 100% all the way. So I started off by showing sketches of bats. I decided that I was going to do old vintage bats, you know, when everything still had the devil in it. And I just tried to decide how I was going to make it more like my style. And so those are all the different sketches I had. I felt like I wanted to show them to you so that you can see I didn't get it right the first time. And then here's me trying a new camera thing. I thought I'd try, what do you call it? Handheld. It's got a different vibe. I'm not sure if I love it. But here's straight into a clip of my crayon swatches. Yes, I own crayon swatches. I feel a little silly saying that, but I'm a firm believer that swatches are a really good art tool. I've got like over 100 crayons. How would I remember what each individual color looks like against other colors? And so I just go to my sheets and I can find which colors are closest to what I'm envisioning, and I can work from there. Okay, so I said that I was inspired by a YouTube video I saw. The YouTube video is by Stained Hands, and the video is called "Can I Recreate a Famous Painting with Crayons?" And what do you call it? Spoiler: the artist does a crayon version of the girl with the pearl earring, and it's really quite good. And she did something I've never seen done with crayons before. She takes a hairdryer to it. I'm glad I went back and watched it a second time after. I was like, I'm doing that, because I thought she used a heat gun, and it turns out it was just a hairdryer, so I didn't have to go out and buy a heat gun. Or I might own one. Yeah, well, I didn't have to get it involved because a hairdryer was what she used, and I had one ready available. So as you can see, I'm going in with the crayons, and you'll see me poking at the paper every once in a while. And what that is I'm going in with tape, and I'm picking up like the crayon boogers, you know, like erasers, and when you use them all that stuff comes off it. Crayons do the same thing, except unlike eraser booger things, crayon boogers can leave marks on your paper in places you don't intend to. So like you get that stuff that sloughs off your crayon, and you put your hand in it and you drag your hand, you can draw on locations of your paper where you didn't intend to. So instead of like hyperventilating and blowing it off, or trying to sweep it off, which also can leave random marks that you don't want, I use tape to pick it up. And then it's definitely out of the way, and I don't have to worry about it. I'm not the neatest artist, and anything I can do to help alleviate me from having those those human moments where you just do a thing and it messes up, definitely want to keep them in my repertoire. So you just saw me use a pencil sharpener. It's like I got a pack of 6 pencil sharpeners for $1 from Dollar Tree, and I use them with my crayons. You can go out and buy fancy crayon sharpeners. You use the crayon sharpeners in the back of the box, and they work, but they make the crayons so that they look like factory crayons with that little flat top on the edge, and I don't like that. I like to be able to get a little bit sharper if I want to. You have to be careful. It's real easy to snap it off if you're making it like a pencil point, but I think there's applications for it, and I think that the metal pencil sharpener blades are quicker than the plastic blades that they give you in the crayon boxes. so that's a thing I do. A couple of years ago, I got super sick and I got really into crayons because unlike watercolors or paints or other things, you don't have to be careful with it. You don't have to, you don't really need to clean up. All you have to, if you want to clean up, all you have to do is like sweep it in a basket or a box and just hide it out of sight and you're good. Unlike watercolors, you have to worry about the water, and markers, you have to find the lids. And so I spent a lot of time with crayons for a while. They're you know, like I feel like we all have this sort of innate like, oh, crayons, because we all got a chance to play with them when we were a kid. But like, you know, they're not a bad media. They're cheap, they're readily available, they come in a variety of colors, they're pretty pigmented. I doubt they have any sort of archival qualities. I'm sure they're done with like the color comes from dyes instead of pigments. But you know, things, make a color copy, take a picture of them, you've got it, and they're fun to play with. The one thing that I wasn't happy about this painting, or drawing, it's a drawing, I used different paper than what I was used to using with it, and I used cardstock, which is very smooth, and I didn't think that there was an application where I'd ever be like, this paper was too smooth. Cardstock is too smooth for crayon. It doesn't have enough grip, and it's super easy to like get the like waxy buildup and get your coloring hand gestures. Like I know it's a fairly easy media to have that happen, but it was even easier to have happen on the cardstock. So would not recommend crayon on cardstock. Get like a drawing paper, something a little bit toothier. And so that's something at this point in time I really wasn't that happy about. Like if I knew that I was gonna just leave the crayon as straight crayon, I probably would have stopped the drawing and scratched it for a different type of paper. However, I knew I was going to make the decision to use a hairdryer at the end of it. And so, you know, hair dryers melt wax, and so it's like I'm gonna wait and see, and hopefully it'll turn out good. And so I thought I sped this up more. Gosh, this is a lot of black crayon coloring to watch. Sorry about that. Okay, and I go back in and I'm using different purple colors. I didn't keep track of what color crayons I used. In the future, if you want me to do that, I'll let you know. I've got multiple boxes of crayons though, because when I got sick, you know, I was super into crayons, and bless the people in my life when I'm all in, they're all in with me. So everybody was like, do you have the glittered crayons? Do you have the neon crayons? Here, I bought you a crayon box of 168 crayons. And every time I got a box of crayons, it was like Christmas. I love new art supplies. You know, there's just something so wonderful about it. You get to think about all the things that you're gonna create, and then you get to play with them and swatch. I like swatching. It's a good way to familiarize. I find it a good way to familiarize myself with what materials do and how they react. And I think that they're great reference sheets too. I'm not gonna lie, this was a long drawing. You see me diddling on my phone every now and again. It's because I sit and I'll listen to like YouTubers telling stories or art vlogs or, you know, whatever to keep me company. And this took so long for me to do. I had to find some different things to listen to. And So that's what that was about. I didn't realize that I'd done it on camera. Oh, okay, so I had to change venues when I did the hair dryer because I am not the only person that lives in my home. During the middle of a football game, it is not the kind thing to bust out with your hair dryer. So I actually went to my bathroom, and that's why the light completely changed and the background changed. I'm actually sitting on the bathroom floor with the hair dryer, melting the wax. It really didn't take a long time to activate the wax and to get it to move around the paper. So I chose a Q-tip because Stained Hands in her videos used a Q-tip, and also on previous experiments I've ruined a lot of brushes that I really love with trying new things, and so now I think twice before using my pretty beautiful, expensive, or cheap brushes that I am currently vibing with. And you know what? I thought that the Q-tips did a great job. I thought that they sort of took away some of the depth of color, but I love that sort of velvety texture visual texture that you get with it. And so I'm sold. I will do more crayon drawings with a hair dryer if I ever feel like doing something big and bold. Thumbs up, would recommend. It's not as hard as you'd think in it. Okay, here's the sheet of paper that tells you to do all the things. Like, subscribe, and please leave a comment so the algorithm knows that you like me.